But let's see here if Melle actually can do some, well, I mean, I guess just better compositions, be more on par with the tech switching from Ret, because he doesn't have the superb scouting. He's not really aware of what Ret is going, but we're going to give him another best out of 3 to give him, the benefit of the doubt, I guess. And I will go ahead and introduce one of the players. It is, of course, the man we've been talking so much about in the bottom left. It's the green Protoss, Melle, representing Lowland Lions.
And in the top right, he has successfully taken one best of 3 from his Protoss opponent, looking to take the second one and earn that seeding advantage in the live finals event. He is the Team Liquid player. His name is Ret.
Yeah, and this map is fairly interesting for this type of play. I would say the bases are a bit harder to take, but it's also fairly easy to zone out your opponent. You can quite easily know where he is coming from. You sort of have to pick from different paths if you want to attack your opponent. You have to go either this way or that way, and if you're aware of where your opponent comes from, you can probably easily defend that. However, Melle also lacks that type of scouting, lacks that type of map control. He doesn't really know what his opponent is going or where he's coming from. So I fear that if he decides to go for Skytos again, which of course is a reoccurring theme on his end, he will have some trouble on this map perhaps. But we're still going to have to wait and see if we ever come to that.
Yeah, and I feel like with the way these third bases are laid out, I feel like a 2-base, if you're going to play 2 bases Protoss, this is one of the maps to do it on. The base is a lot harder to take. Just looking at these possible third base locations, I mean, I don't really know how you secure. There's 3 separate ways into that third base. That's just really tough to hold on to. So, but we've only seen 3-base Sky Toss from him so far, so it'd be kind of also strange to see him deviate from that. But I mean, you got to have more than one trick up your sleeve if you're going to succeed at this level. So hopefully we see him bring out something maybe a little bit different here to the table.
I just want to point out what you just said about having to, know a bit more than just one style of play to succeed on this level. I know a guy called Horstem who would perhaps disagree a bit with you. He was
as soon as you
fairly
started
successful.
talking, yeah. When you started talking, I was like, oh, let's bring up Horstem. But
well, I mean, of course, I am very, very sure. I don't want to discredit Horstem. I am very sure he knows more than one thing, more than one type of all-in or more than one type of style of play, but that's the one he chose to pull out continuously when we casted him. We're seeing fairly standard play once again. I believe that, oh yes, that was a Nexus first from Melle once again.
Yep, and yeah, standard or standard can be, honestly, and Ret will almost assuredly take that third base almost immediately. Drone already out there, so that's going to come down here in a second. So, well, looking pretty comparable to the openers we've seen already from both these guys in the 2 previous games. But also, I do want to point out this is going to be our last best of 3 of the day. There's no other way it can be at this point in time. So, anyone who's been with us the whole time, anyone who joined in about halfway through when WCS ended, want to thank you very much for watching. I know we appreciate it, and the Dutch StarCraft League also appreciates it. You should definitely come attend the live finals if you can at the Hog, and it should be a great experience. A lot of good players playing, and it should be really nice production. There's a Team League finals as well, and it should be a hell of a lot of fun to watch. So definitely tune in or show up live if you can. It should be awesome times, and it is on this Saturday, I believe.
Yeah, definitely gonna light up my weekend a bit. I can say personally, it's gonna be quite awesome. And there's a lot of dead talk right here. We're not really having much going on. And as Observer, of course, points out, if you want to know more about the Dutch StarCraft League, and all its elements, everything from casters to players to locations and buying tickets, not buying tickets, but buying seats and whatnot, because of course it's free entry, then you should check out the Dutch StarCraft League website, which is DSCL.Melle. And just speaking of the game slightly, we're having the idle Forge Fast Expand, not really much happening right there. I guess I'm sort of waiting for the Stargate to be placed down, but there we go. Yeah, well, not a big surprise, I must say. Melle, that's sort of his style of play, alright, so he's honestly been doing fairly well with it. I mean, let's be honest, Melle is a Grandmasters player, so he is fairly high ranked. I mean, it's a player to be reckoned with. But Ret, of course, is a bit more superior. He's a known player. If I played versus Ret, even if I was on the level of Melle, I would be pretty afraid. So I wouldn't be far too surprised. I would actually call his type of play not very unique and not very... Well, actually, let's just mention here that Zealot goes down. I think the Stalker's going to go down as well, unless it just runs straight home. But anyway, talking about Melle, he's been doing fairly well to be playing against a guy of Ret's caliber. And Do you think Red will allow Melee to play this type of style again? Because he should know by now what's happening, and he has he could prepare from the very beginning to hard counter this.
Yeah, in the last game, it seemed like he really wanted to try and hit the sky toss before it really got going, but he chose to do it on a map where it's really hard to get aggressive against that Protoss player once they get that third base. And the drops we saw didn't really pan out. That's really not why Ret won that game. It was really creative, but it was not tremendously effective by any means. But he's making a fair amount of lings right now, adding on a Roach Worm. And this is a map you can get aggressive against these third base locations without being like too cheeky and having to go for drops or something like that. You can get aggressive just straight up on the ground against this third base location. So I would not be surprised to see him at least try to maybe pressure that location a bit and try to keep Mela off that third base.
Yeah, and we do see a lot of links being produced, so that does seem to be what he strives for. Ironically enough, at this point in time, in the previous maps, Mela tried to go for some different style of play. Instead, he is going for the more 4-gate with Warp Prism aggressive play, but it's not really working out for too much. The pylons will be denied every single one, which is a total of 4 actually. Really hope the ones in production will be cancelled. I don't think the first one was, and that's a lot of waste of minerals. Red is droning behind this, and he has a very high lead now, because really there's only 2 Voiders out to defend here for Melee. He has no chance to take a solid third.
Yeah, and this is basically like he didn't have to do this on this map, but like I think the map choice really limited his ability to. Not map choice. It was locked in, so there was no choice. I mean, they had to play this map, but like it made him think he had to do something off of 2 bases first to try and secure that Stargate play, because you can't go for that really fast third on this map as easily. This is really going to scout out that drone moving there. The Overlord will see it as well, so Ret will know this is on the way. 2 Voiders being a little bit annoying towards the natural expansion, but or sorry, the third base, but. Well, we'll see how much more they can do. There are a couple of queens here in position now, some Spore Callers in place as well, so Voiders look like they'll be forced to back off.
Yeah, third base. Well, I mean, the pylon. Oh, of course, I did not see that overload. The third base is entirely scouted. I completely missed that one, but it's alright. Quite a lot of links once again in production. We see a robotics facility here from Mel. I don't think we've ever seen that from Mel before.
Okay, and actually, he's going to go for the third cancel. Can he get it? Can he DPS it down in time? It looks like not quite.
He decides to retreat. Doesn't really have enough firepower right there to make it cancel, but I believe he did some health damage, so it's not completely in vain. Losing actually a bit sloppily the rest of those links, but once again we have a new link force accumulated, and they're running straight for the natural.
And they're going to get right on in here. This can be a little bit annoying, but that is a big pain here for Mela. Going to have to deal with that. They're going to run straight in the main and do a probably significant amount of damage. They'll have to deal with these Zealots first, but this is not pleasant for Red to deal with. Not Red, Mela to deal with. Actually, going to try and focus fire down the Nexus on the low ground and delay the army from coming in just a little bit more towards that main base. And, well, it looks like not going to do quite as much damage as I thought. The target on the Nexus, I'm not really sure about that one. I feel like he could have done more damage if he had maybe gone for probes there instead of going for that Nexus.
Yeah, probe, cybernetics, something, because really he just accomplished a bit of health damage on the Nexus, and it's probably not even gonna go down. I mean, I don't expect him to use this Muta follow-up to target that specifically, so the links weren't used optimally anyway. We're having a 4th base almost finish here from Red, and these Mutas will probably, will definitely be able to snipe every single unit right here. Oh, they're going straight for the Mothership Core, there is no recall, and now Melee GG's out immediately. I mean, that was a very early, basically, reproduction of the second game we saw with Melee and Ret, and he's not really, even though he went the robot this game, I completely forgot about Immortal's existence even, because we haven't seen them in ages when we've watched Ret play versus Melee. Despite the fact that he went that, he didn't really have the tech, and he was once again sort of overwhelmed by the tech switching of Ret, and completely caught off guard. But he does have yet one more chance to take at least one game of Ret and get the primary seeding possibilities in the LAN final.